It's Conduit News Radio with Paul Harrell.
All right, hey folks, welcome back to the program. We have constitutional attorney, radio host, educator extraordinaire, KrisAnne Hall is back with us. KrisAnne, thanks so much for calling in this morning.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure.
I say, education extraordinaire because, I mean...
I know, extraordinary.
that's exactly what you are. Nobody teaches the Constitution anymore the way you do it. You're just a good teacher, and that's a gift.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
Let's talk about Arkansas for a second, KrisAnne. You're going to be in Arkansas February 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. What a trip.
And 24th.
And 24th, yeah. I see that here at the very end.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be there for a long time.
That's great. And you're going to be teaching some classes. So you're going to be in Springdale. According to this schedule, you're going to be in Springdale talking about the Fourth Amendment. Then you're going to be in Alma talking about America Disarmed. And then then you're going over to Oklahoma for a little bit, I see.
Yeah, that's actually my husband's class, Righteous Resistance to Civil Authority.
Wow. That'll be at the J.C. Hall First Missionary Baptist Church, but that's over in Sallisaw, Oklahoma. So what is that class about?
Oh, that is a really amazing class, Paul. My husband shows how God teaches through the Bible that we have a righteous obligation to resist tyrannical authority. And he walks through biblical story after biblical story, proving that God not only expects us, but commands us and rewards us for denying authority to tyrannical government.
Wow, I want to take that class.
It is an amazing class.
Wow, that sounds great. Let's see. Then you're going to be in Jonesboro on the February 21st, talking about state sovereignty. That'll be at the Hilton Garden Inn. Can you just talk a little bit about state sovereignty? I mean, that's a concept that is lost. It's kind of like Arkansas specifically, I've said before, has like the political equivalency of Stockholm syndrome, where we love our captor.
Oh, yeah, no, that's I'm convinced that's a syndrome that has overcome America. Actually, when you think about, the political entities and parties that are supposed to be the ones that are constitutionally minded and liberty-minded, and then think about the rallies and the conventions that we have where we invite the politicians to come encourage us when they're the ones that are actually voting against our liberties and our Constitution, and that is absolutely the definition of Stockholm Syndrome. But state sovereignty, like you said, is really, and quite unfortunately, a lost understanding in America, because that is the essential check and balance for maintaining our constitutional republic. And because we've forgotten that the states created the federal government and that the states are the delegators of the power to the federal government, we've forgotten that it's actually the states that are in charge. And just as a simple preview for the audience, anybody who's thinking, well, the Civil War kind of cured that or answered that question or whatever, we need to understand what that definition of that word delegate means, because our founders and the Constitution both show that the states delegated power to the federal government. And that word delegate means a temporary transfer of authority from a higher power to a lower power.
Interesting. That's what the word delegate means then.
Yeah, that's what the word delegate means. And on the 21st in Jonesboro, we will walk through our foundational documents, and I will prove to you without any shadow of a doubt the purpose and the principles of state sovereignty, not by my opinion, not by my interpretation, but I will show you in the very text of the documents themselves.
Wow. We need to make sure we get as many local legislators at this event, at all of these events,
Yeah, your sheriff needs to be there, your state reps need to be there, your county commissioners, your city councilmen, your school board needs to be there, because the state and local government is the most powerful government in your life. The sheriff being the most powerful constitutional entity in your life.
So you're going to be in Jonesboro actually for 2 days, February 21st, February 22nd. The February 22nd, the next evening, you'll be teaching on America Disarmed. Now, I know that certainly has got to be of interest, for all the Patriots of Act 746 that we have out there. Talk a little bit about that, America Disarmed.
Well, actually, Patrick Henry, I'm sure everybody remembers Patrick Henry's famous speech, "Give me liberty or give me death." Well, Patrick Henry was quite the orator, and he said many things. He said, "I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know no way to judge the future but by the past." And so in America Disarmed, what we do is we go through an historical event in 1774 where one governor disarms one town, the facts that lead up to that and the history that follows after that, and we watch how that specifically and directly parallels what is the current events of America.
Wow. And so
it is stunning. It is absolutely stunning.
And so, yeah, that would be maybe why they put the Second Amendment in there, after they broke away from the most powerful military in the world at that time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's this history that makes our Constitution, our foundational documents relevant today. We're battling, Paul, today with an errant education system that teaches that our Constitution, because it was written when there was no automatic weapon and it was written when there was no internet, that it's somehow irrelevant and inapplicable today. But it's history itself that proves, as Jefferson said, that these are self-evident truths and that we cannot escape the human nature.
Wow, that's so great. I'm so looking forward to it. We're talking with KrisAnne Hall, and she is a constitutional attorney. She's got her own radio show that she does, so you need to check it out. And also, KrisAnne, tell us about it's Liberty First University, right?
Yes, Liberty First University is our online training, where you can attend our classes and in your home, in your school, in your church, wherever you may be. And we have a student body that consists of students aged 6 to 96. We have lots of parents who not only homeschool through Liberty First University, but also supplement the education that their children are receiving in organized school systems, because our textbooks don't teach our Constitution and American history in the depth that we do, or even with the accuracy that we do. But what Liberty First University is teaching American history, Constitution, philosophy. My husband's courses are on there as well. And you stream them online, and it's self-paced, and they're not just simply me and my husband behind a webcam, just teaching. These are professionally recorded and professionally mastered videos, and it's a great way to learn the history that we haven't been taught in 150 years.
Gosh, wow.
I mean, if we want to really be educated constituents, and if we honestly want to make America a better place again, I say make America liberty again, we're going to have to do more than just simply watch news and get angry and postulate on the problems. We're going to have to really get out and educate.
I agree. After you're in Jonesboro for 2 days, this will be February 22nd. Then February 23rd, you're in Hot Springs at the Courtyard by Marriott, and you're there for 2 days.
Yeah.
And you'll be talking about the Second Amendment. Anyway, I think this is going to be great, and I think there's going to be These are going to be very well attended events, especially if we can get the word out now to where, people clear their calendars. So I'm really excited. And Arkansas is privileged to have you, come into town and stay for as long as you're staying, KrisAnne. I really appreciate you coming.
Oh no, really, this is our our pleasure and our privilege. This is our passion, and we're just excited that the people of Arkansas want us to come. And I'll tell you, the people of Arkansas are really excited about this trip already on social media. I mean, I have 68,000 on Facebook and over 20,000 on Twitter and on YouTube and Instagram and all those things. And I'm already getting people from Arkansas contacting me, telling me how excited they are about us coming in February. So I would tell people you need to set it on your calendar now so you know that you have a seat, because this is going to be an amazing week.
I'm really, really excited about it. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about, because I was talking with our mutual friend, and we're talking about how many different laws there are on the books. So, KrisAnne Hall, how many laws are enough in your opinion?
Well, the whole concept of our constitutional republic and the way it's supposed to work relies heavily on people to self-govern. And that's what liberty is all about. Liberty is not just simply freedom. They are not synonymous. Liberty is freedom plus a self-governance, a morality of the people. Freedom says you're free to do whatever you want, free to lie, steal, and murder. But liberty says, I understand that I am free to do all of those things, but there are some things that I will not do because I know that they are wrong. And part of this loss of understanding of liberty in America, we lose that aspect of self-governance, and then we turn to the law to control people. And laws don't stop crimes. I mean, I was a prosecutor in Florida for over a decade, and anybody who works in the prison system or in law enforcement, or anybody who looks around can tell you laws don't stop crime. And that proof of that is the fact that we still have crime in America, because you're right, we have way too many laws. We don't need laws for bathrooms, and we don't need laws for many, many things. What we need are a people that understand that we have an obligation to not do harm to other people. And as Christians, we have to understand that we have an obligation to love our neighbor as ourselves, which means that we don't do things to harm our neighbor. And even as non-believers, understand the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And we don't, and the more government, this is the relationship that we've lost, is the fact that more government is less liberty for the people.
Isn't it? I agree with that, and it's also a cycle. I mean, you have right now, historically, the people on the left, I would say, they push any concept of a higher power out of public life. I mean, they think people, increasing numbers of people on the left think that religious liberty just means freedom to worship. Barack Obama would just talk about the freedom to worship, not the freedom of religion. So worship would just be what you do maybe on one day a week, inside four walls, not what you do out on the sidewalk. And so we you can chart. We took prayer to schools or whatever, but the moral compass, any notion of hey, we have a moral compass. There's right and wrong. That's being pushed out more and more and more, and the population consequently becomes more immoral. And then the cycle is, well, then you have to have government to step in to pass laws to govern an immoral population, and then the immoral population doesn't follow those laws, right? Because immoral people are always going to break the law, so then there's even more. And and I see this, with technology, KrisAnne. We are fast. We have the technology to enslave ourselves, unlike any other time in history. I mean, look at what China's doing with their social credit score now. Really, really terrifying stuff. So, do you see it being like this cycle where, you have this authority? Francis Schaeffer wrote about it in his book, How Should We Then Live? As Christians, how should we then live knowing that the Christian consensus is gone. And he said the Christian consensus was gone, back in '74 when Roe versus Wade came down. What's your reaction to that?
Samuel Adams gave this warning. He said, "No people will tamely surrender their liberty when knowledge is diffused and virtue is preserved." He said, "But on the contrary, when the people become universally ignorant and debauched in their manners, they will sink underneath their own weight without the aid of foreign invaders." And that's what's happened in America. The cycle is an educational cycle. What we've done is we've turned over our education to the very entity that is in opposition to our liberty. And when you allow government to dictate what you learn and how you think, then what happens is you are trained to actually engage in the worst form of slavery ever, and that is self-censorship. And our founders talked about that. James Madison wrote about it in his essay of Property. We have a class at Liberty First University that talks about James Madison's essay on property. We even have a class on Liberty First University that talks about religious liberty and about how even those who do not believe in God need to preserve religious liberty as a liberty of freedom of speech and thought, because it's the principles of religious liberty that not only protects the believer, but it also protects your right to not believe. And that's where we have slipped off. The thing that's frightening for me, Paul, is that we have this issue where we have the Christians and the believers that are the ones that are actually pressing for more law. We're the ones that ought to believe that it's only the job and only the power of the Holy Spirit to change people's lives, not laws. And these are the essential principles that we've lost. And because we've become universally ignorant about liberty, we've lost courage and virtue in America to take a stand. We have become our own worst enemy.
That is some wisdom right there, folks. KrisAnne Hall, we're out of time. It's always so great to have you on. I can't wait for you to come to Arkansas in February, and we'll have you on again soon to talk about it. So thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
KrisAnne Hall, everybody.